Hello everyone, so we will be continuing with the same topic, that is acid, base and salts. In our last video we have already seen what are strong acids, strong base, how do they react and what are difference between them. Now let us continue with our next topic. With continuation, let us start this with the question that what will happen if we mix both acid and base together, which we have already seen. I guess I have given a glimpse of it. So the answer of it was, when we mix acid and base, acid such as hydrochloric acid and base such as sodium hydroxide, what is the result of this reaction? Okay, so the result of this reaction will be, when hydrochloric acid reacts or is mixed with base, that is sodium hydroxide, it is going to give NaCl, that is sodium chloride, plus water, okay, H2O. So you have been knowing this reaction, that when an acid and a base is combined or they are mixed, what forms is a salt, water and some amount of heat is released. Okay, so this is what happens when an acid and a base is mixed. Three things are formed when both of these acids and base reacts, that is salt, water and heat. Now here salt typically doesn't means that it is a common salt only. Yes, when HCl and NaOH, that is hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide, react, it forms sodium chloride, that is common salt. But normally when any acid and base they react, it doesn't mean that it is always going to form sodium chloride, that is NaCl. Salt generally means any kind of substance which is a category which is categorized as salt, not necessarily NaCl. Okay, so this is what happens when acid and base reacts. Now let us see what, or let us name this reaction. So this reaction can be named as neutralization. Okay, so what neutralization is? It is the reaction between acid and base and it is known as neutralization. Okay, so salt and water, these both things are produced when acid and base react with each other. On the same time, some amount of heat is also evolved. Okay, so let us see this process with the help of an experiment. So let us start with the experiment. Here we are taking test tubes, then there are droppers, then there are 3 flasks. One of it is consisting of hydrochloric acid, the other is having sodium hydroxide, and the last one is having phenolphthalein, which is an indicator. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, we are going to take a test tube in which we are going to add some amount of hydrochloric acid. Now note that this acid is colorless, it doesn't has any color. Okay, and this is diluted hydrochloric acid which is not that much concentrated. Okay, now we are going to add phenolphthalein in it. Now what is phenolphthalein? It is an indicator, and we already know when phenolphthalein reacts with acid, it doesn't gives any kind of change in color. So by here we can see no color change. Okay, by which we can say that it is acid. Okay, now we are going to add some amount of sodium hydroxide in this solution. Okay, so you can see the color changed. Okay, the color changed from to pink or slightly pinkish color. Okay, so why did the color changed over here? The color changed because it is basic solution. Okay, and phenolphthalein reacts with base and gives pink color formation. Okay, so this is how we can say that this solution has become basic. Okay, it is a base now. First it was acidic, after adding a base it became basic solution. Okay, so this is what we can conclude when we add phenolphthalein in it. Now what we are going to do is, we are again going to add some amount of hydrochloric acid in the test tube. Okay, so few drops of hydrochloric acid, and you can see the color again became transparent. Okay, it became colorless again, which again indicates us that the solution became acidic. So you can see how the color keeps on changing because of addition of different kind of substances like hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide. Now again, if we add some amount of sodium hydroxide in this acidic solution, not that much, but very few drops of sodium hydroxide in this acidic solution, then what is going to happen is there would be no color change. Okay, even if the solution is basic, or even if it was acidic before, we won't see any color change over here. Okay, why? Because now the concentration of acid and base is became equal in this, and somehow they have neutralized each other. Now let us try to check this with the help of an indicator. Okay, let us take a litmus paper and see what happens. Does the color changes? So we are taking both blue and red litmus to check whether the color changes or not. And what you can see over here, the color doesn't changes. Okay, in both the cases, in blue or red litmus, we are unable to see the color change. It is not turning to red, it is not turning to blue. So which means we can conclude that the solution is neutral. Okay, so what happened over here, when equal amount or a particular amount of acid and base are added, the solution becomes neutral, which means neutralization has occurred. Okay, so this is what happens. But on the same time, when we talk about it, on the same time when the reaction of neutralization is taking place, heat is also evolved. Okay, and that is the reason why we can say that neutralization is a process which is an exothermic process, which means it releases the heat out. Okay, it is not absorbing, it is releasing the heat, and with the heat the salt is also produced. Okay, so these were the two products which we saw, that when an acid and a base react, we get heat and salt. Okay, and water. So this is the process of neutralization. Okay, so I hope the experiment of neutralization is very much clear. Now tell me one thing, that is neutralization only possible in laboratories, chemistry lab only? Does it occurs in our daily life? So can you tell me, do you see any neutralization process or application in our daily life? So yes, there are few applications of neutralization in our daily life. We are going to study few of them now. So first of it is indigestion. Now what is indigestion? So sometimes what happens, in our stomach there is production of acid. Okay, so this acid is hydrochloric acid, which is produced in our stomach for digestion of food. But what happens, sometimes it is produced in an extra amount. Okay, due to eating some kind of fast food, or some kind of oily things, so the production of acid is more, and because of which we face acidity. There is pain in stomach and some kind of ache in stomach, so that is acidity. So to reduce the effect of acidity, doctor tells us to take antacid, or any kind of antacid or eno, or sometimes some people take soda, or these kind of things are taken. Even milk of magnesia helps sometimes. Okay, so what this does, let us see what this antacid does. So when this antacid enters in the stomach, it is going to neutralize the effect of acid. Why neutralize? How it is going to neutralize? Because antacid is nothing but a base. Okay, it is basic in nature. And when, or eno, or milk of magnesia, or soda, these are basic in nature. And when we have acidity, which means more production of acid in our stomach, we take antacid or other substance which are basic in nature, and which are going to neutralize the acid which is there in the stomach, and because of which we are going to feel relief. So this is the application of neutralization in our daily life. The first one, that is in indigestion or acidity. We treat this kind of acidity with the help of base. Okay, Second application is ant bite. So what happens when an ant bites? Okay, so the ant, it bites on the skin. It is basically injecting its sting inside the skin, right? You can see. And this, by this injection, what it does is it is injecting the liquid, acidic liquid, which is formic acid, into our skin. And because of this acid, these kind of rashes or swelling, skin swallows or rashes are formed on the skin. Okay, now how do neutralization is applied over here? So what we do is we apply baking soda, or we rub baking soda on the place, on the area where ant has bite. Okay, and by rubbing this, what is going to happen is the baking soda is going to neutralize the effect of formic acid, which is there on the skin, given by the bite of ant. Okay, and because of neutralization, these rashes are going to uh, gradually reduce. Okay, so the effect of ant bite is going to reduce, not just by not just on the ant bite, but bug bite or honeybee bite. You can apply baking soda on it, so that this effect of the sting, that is the effect of the acid, starts reducing. Okay, so this was the second application. And the third application is soil treatment. Now what happens, due to extra or due to excessive use of chemical fertilizers, the soil becomes very very much, you can say, acidic or basic, and because of which the plants cannot grow on these kind of soils where the pH of soil is very much acidic or basic. And to reduce that, or to grow plant on this kind of soil, what we do, if the soil is much acidic, we are going to apply, or we are going to add bases on it, like quicklime or any other kind of bases. We are going to treat the soil with base, so that it neutralizes and the plant can grow on it. And if the soil is much basic, then what we are going to do is we are going to add organic matter in the soil. We are going to treat it with organic matter, because organic matter, it is going to decompose and it is going to release acid in the soil, and which is going to ultimately neutralize the basic nature in the soil. Okay, so this is how we are going to use, we are going to use neutralization process in soil treatment. And the last one is factory waste. Now we all know that the factory waste is released in the river, okay, rivers or pond, and these waste consist of lot of acids. So because of which we can see that all the aquatic organisms, they get affected, many of them die because of these kind of acids released in the river. Okay, so what we do is, basically we give some basic treatment of some bases to this acidic waste of factories, and then that is released in the river, so that the organisms of aquatic organisms are not affected by it. Okay, so these were a few of the applications of neutralization in our daily life. Now tell me that, do you know any other application of neutralization in our daily life other than what I have told? If yes, then please let me know in the comment section. And I hope all the things of related to acid and base, how do they react and everything, is very much clear. So thank you for watching the video, and keep studying.